Okay, think about this for a second. A huge underground market.
Right.
Moving billions of dollars in dirty money. But it's not hidden away somewhere obscure. It's happening on a platform loads of us use every single day.
Sounds like something out of a movie almost, but it's real. We're diving into the shutdown of Haowang Guarantee today. Some people are calling it the biggest darknet marketplace, like, ever.
Ever. And the kicker is, like you said, it wasn't tucked away on the Tor network or anything. It was running on Telegram.
Yeah, the messaging app. So we've been looking through the news reports, obviously, but also some really interesting analysis from Elliptic.
Right, Elliptic. They're the blockchain security folks, the ones who trace crypto transactions.
Yeah.
Sort of like digital detectives for this stuff.
Exactly. They follow the money, basically.
So our mission today really is to unpack this. Why is this Haowang shutdown such a big deal? What does it, tell us about this whole digital underground? And maybe most importantly, what does it mean for online security, for scams, for all of us, really?
Right. So, okay, basics first. Haowang Guarantee. What was it?
Fundamentally, it was a darknet marketplace, but specifically Chinese language.
Mm-hmm. And when we say darknet, sometimes people think, super hidden, complex stuff. But here, the key difference was the platform, Telegram.
Which is,
yeah,
well, it's widely accessible compared to the traditional dark web corners needing special browsers and things.
Yeah. Exactly. Maybe offered its users a bit more convenience or perhaps a false sense of security through the encrypted chats. Definitely a wider potential user base than, say, something only on Tor or I2P.
Okay, so as big, it was on Telegram. But it sounds like it went down fast. Like, really fast. What actually happened?
Well, the reports say that on May 13th, just recently, Telegram did this massive purge. Yeah, they just removed a huge number of merchant accounts linked to Haowang Guarantee. That effectively, pulled the plug, stopped it from working.
Wow. So Telegram took direct action, and Haowang itself confirmed this.
They did. A notice went up on their own website. Pretty straightforward, actually. Said they were shutting down operations because, their channels and groups on Telegram got blocked that same day, May 13th.
Okay, now let's talk scale.
Yeah.
Because the numbers here are just kind of hard to wrap your head around.
Mm-hmm.
Elliptic's estimate for Haowang.
It's staggering. They estimate around $27 billion in illicit transactions flowed through it.
$27 billion.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the entire economy of some smaller countries. And most of it, the vast majority, was in Tether USDT.
Right, the stable coin. Pegged to the dollar makes it easier to handle than volatile cryptos, I suppose.
Probably, yeah. And Elliptic didn't stop there. They looked at the bigger picture, this whole Huione Group that Haowang was apparently part of.
Ah, so it was part of a network.
Seems so. And that wider group, they tracked over $98 billion in crypto transactions moving through it.
$98 billion. That's incredible. So what was actually being sold, it can't just have been like dodgy software, right, for that kind of money.
Oh, no. It was a whole ecosystem. Money laundering services, obviously. That's a big one, cleaning dirty money.
Sure.
But also stolen personal data. The stuff used in those horrible pig butchering scams.
Ugh, yeah. Where they build trust online and then just drain people's savings. Awful.
Truly awful. And that data fuels it. They also found listings for telecom gear, infrastructure stuff.
Telecom equipment. What for?
Well, possibly for setting up illicit call centers or spoofing numbers, things like that. Also, deepfake software, creating fake videos, fake IDs.
Okay, this is getting darker.
And this is pretty chilling physical restraint devices.
Wait, like actual physical restraint?
Yeah. Elliptic noted these are reportedly used in some scam operations, particularly in Southeast Asia, to basically control people forced to work in scam call centers.
That just adds a whole other layer of horror to it. It's not just digital crime. It's connected to real-world exploitation and coercion.
Absolutely. It really hits home that this isn't victimless stuff.
So when someone like Tom Robinson from Elliptic calls this shutdown a huge win or a game changer, you can see why.
Definitely. His point was that taking down these central hubs really disrupts the scammers' workflow. They lose access to tools, data, ways to launder money. It makes their job much harder.
It throws a wrench in the works, basically. Makes sense. And law enforcement wasn't totally in the dark before this Telegram action, right? FinCEN had already flagged them.
That's right. Earlier in May, FinCEN, that's the U.S. Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, they designated Haowang Guarantee as a primary money laundering concern.
Which basically means
it aimed to cut them off from the U.S. financial system. Banks were warned not to deal with them, so pressure was already building before the Telegram takedown.
Okay, so a big win, significant disruption. But, well, the story doesn't quite end there, does it? Nature abhors a vacuum, as they say.
Unfortunately, no. This is where it gets a bit discouraging, perhaps. Elliptic has already identified a new marketplace, also on Telegram. It's called Huione Guarantee.
Already? Seriously?
Seriously. And get this. As of May 13th, the same day Haowang was shut down, Elliptic had already tracked about $8.4 billion in transactions going through Huione.
$8.4 billion. In potentially just hours or days.
It's unclear exactly the time frame for that $8.04 intent, but the speed is the key point. It appeared and was processing huge volumes almost immediately. And Elliptic is careful to say that's probably a low estimate, just what they could see initially.
That speed is, well, it's alarming. It suggests they were ready to pivot, or maybe multiple operations were running in parallel. And there's a U.S. connection with this new one, too.
A tenuous one, perhaps. Elliptic linked Huione to a company registered in Colorado back in 2022, but that company was listed as delinquent in January 2025.
Delinquent, meaning it wasn't keeping up with state filings or something.
Basically, yeah. It raises questions about whether it was a legitimate front or just a shell company being used. Lots of unknowns there.
So, stepping back from the specific names Haowang, Huione, what's the bigger picture emerging here?
Well, if you put it all together, what Elliptic and others are suggesting is that this points towards a really significant China-based underground banking system.
An underground bank using crypto.
Effectively, yes. Using stablecoins like Tether and other cryptos to move massive amounts of money, laundered money, largely outside the traditional financial system. The scale is something we're probably still just beginning to grasp.
And a lot of this activity, or at least the marketplace front end, is happening on platforms like Telegram. Did Telegram comment on all this?
They did. A spokesperson reiterated their stance, basically, that illegal stuff like scams and money laundering is forbidden by their terms of service.
Right.
And they stated that they do remove content and ban accounts when they find this kind of activity, so they acknowledge it happens, and they say they act on it when discovered.
Okay, so let's quickly recap. We saw Haowang Guarantee, this enormous darknet market on Telegram, get taken down. It handled, what, an estimated $27 billion?
At least, yeah. Mostly crypto.
Showed us the sheer scale of this underground economy. But then, almost instantly, Huione Guarantee pops up, already showing billions in volume itself.
Precisely. That rapid replacement is maybe the most sobering part. It shows how resilient these networks can be.
So that really leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? If a new multi-billion-dollar operation can spring up immediately after the supposed largest ever is taken down, what does that tell us? How effective are these takedowns really in the long run?
It's a tough question. It suggests the fight against these online criminal enterprises is maybe less about single knockout blows and more about constant pressure, adaptation, and maybe finding new strategies.
Yeah. And what does it mean for regulating platforms like Telegram or the whole crypto space? If billions can move this fast, this secretly, it feels like the challenges for security for regulation are just getting bigger and more complex, doesn't it?
It certainly seems that way. Shutting down one platform is clearly important, a victory even. But the underlying system, the demand, the technology enabling it, that seems much harder to dismantle, a persistent challenge, for sure.